And I want to show you some very important data, and I want to welcome Karan Bhasin from New York. Ajit Ranade joins us, one of our country's top economists, and this is to do with economic outlook of citizens, voters. This is data by C-Voter. They put it out just before the budget, and I'll take you through 3 or 4 very quick data points. And the broad perspective to notice is that the mood amongst Indian citizens when it comes to the outlook on the economy is as bad as it was in 2013 before the government changed in 2014. So if you look at, this is the question on, has your quality of life improved in the last 1 year? 25% say it's improved. It used to be much higher. It used to be 42% in 2017. That's now come down. Let's look at those who say it's remained the same or deteriorated. This is C-Voter data. Now, these are the people who are saying it's remained the same. So, as I go through different charts, you'll see those who think it's the same is plateauing. But look at the red, which is really the alarm. These are people who are saying their quality of life has got worse. It's deteriorated from last year. That figure is now at 41%. That's higher than it has been since 2013. Now that is complicated. Now let's look at, this is for last year. Now let's look at how people think their economic fortunes are likely to change next year. So what's the outlook for next year? Even if you see this, the prognosis is not very optimistic. The green line indicates those who think their life will get better. In 2015, 72% thought next year will be better than the last year. Now it's only 30%. These are those who think their lives are getting better. Let's look at those who think their lives will stay the same. That again, plateauing. So 35% in 21, 33% now. Not really changing very much. But look at that red line. The red line is those who think their lives will get worse next year. That next year will be tougher. That's now higher than those who think their lives will get better or will stay the same. It's not just this look at inflation. The point that's really coming out through all the charts that we've been studying in this data from C-Voter is that people are concerned, which is why, and I think the Prime Minister understood this, which is why he said the Lakshmi Ji is going to shine on the middle class and the poor, because there is an understanding that that core middle class BJP voter who's been so strongly with the Prime Minister and the BJP over the last 10 years, he's now feeling the pinch. The next sheet on inflation coming up on your screen next, which again will give you a sense of whether people are feeling that they're being able to manage their family budgets, or are they struggling to manage their family budgets. So this is opinion on inflation. Have prices gone down? 24% say they've gone down. Have prices gone up? That's coming up in red. And blue is those who think prices will remain the same. Those who think that prices have gone up is now 64%. That's a big jump. Those who say prices remain the same, that's the blue line, which again is now just 12%. So you've got a lot of people, 64%, very worried about inflation. Are they being able to manage their family budgets? Let's take a look at that sheet coming up on your screen next, which really looks at how people feel they're being able to manage their finances or not. Is this inflation having an adverse impact on your life? There's too much of an impact. We're not being able to cope is the voice of 51% of the respondents. There's a little bit of an impact, not very much, is the opinion of 29% of the respondents. Not at all. Like those who are not very concerned, that's only 20%. So a big percentage there thinking that there is just too much impact. A few more sheets, we'll take you through those as well. Shankar Iyer, this is quite alarming because you've got the middle class and those who C-Voter has spoken to now more concerned than they've been at any point in time since 2013. That's the key message.
So, if you look at India's growth story, I said this before, the consumption is all about incomes, and there is the inflation picture. What is the major source of inflation in India's homes is food price inflation. Where does food price inflation reside? In the agriculture sector. What is happening in the agriculture sector is that it is a sector that has been almost untouched by any reform, anything that has to happen. So if you look at the periodic labor force survey, there are more people in agriculture today than they were before, about 46%. So 46% of the population is dependent on 1/6 of the national income. So the incomes are down, yields are down, all that. That is one level. Those who are consuming this are now have to pay 9%, over the last 18 months, food price inflation has averaged at 8%. And you are not able to fix that because you haven't done anything in agriculture.
The chief economic advisor makes the argument that the outlook on inflation is now better than it was in the past, that the worst on inflation is behind us. The counter to that is that Trump's tariffs could have an inflationary spiral too.
So Trump's tariffs, whenever they come, however they come, will have a lesser impact than what food price inflation has done to Indian homes. 45 to 50% is the weightage of food in the CPI. And that is this is the thing, that a large part of that onion, tomato story that we plays out in elections and all is because you don't have a national grid for perishables. You have a national grid for milk. Why can't you have a national grid for perishables?
Look at that data. Those who think their lives will get worse, much higher than those who think their lives will be better in the next year.
But we've seen this even in our Mood of the Nation polls. You've by and large seen in the last couple of years. This is a post-COVID phenomenon. If you look at post-COVID, stagnant incomes, inflation holding at 8%. The truth of the matter is, as a result, consumption levels have declined, savings have increased, but people are still suffering somewhere a post-COVID depression, if I may call it. That confidence has not returned. That is the reality on the ground, which we've been running. It doesn't mean that Mr. Modi is not electable. You see, the problem is politicians look at their performance from the prism of, am I getting elected in the next election? There is a disjunction at the moment between electability and whether I believe my quality of life has improved or not. I think that's the problem.
Okay. But Rajdeep, that electability has been buffered by over 4 lakh crores of subsidies, 2 lakh crores going to Ladki Bahan, whatever name that you give. Without that support, would they have? Jharkhand government came back on that.
But the fact is that's now a trend across every state. Yeah. Look at what Delhi is promising. Yeah. Every woman in Delhi is being promised higher and higher amounts. So that is not the point I'm making. Rahul said that Delhi elections in a week. Let's separate Delhi elections a week from now from what is going to happen today. B-Day and election day are two completely different issues.
But the BJP doesn't think so. I have reason to believe that the BJP thinks that there are announcements in that budget which will have a positive impact on the Delhi voter. That's what they're saying. Now, what they do and whether it does or not is a different matter.
Rahul, even there, if that is their logic, it's a BJP still gets 37-38% of the vote, even in state election in Delhi. In, of course, Lok Sabha, they got more than 50%. But 37-38% is their core middle-class voter. In fact, the voter they need to attract and reach out to is the poorer voter living on the margin.